Have you noticed 3 bright stars visible at night in the summer? These stars make up the summer triangle, and in today's episode of Cabin Fever Astronomy with the Edelman Planetarium, we're going to talk a bit about one of the constellations in this triangle, Lyra, the lyre or harp. To find the summer triangle tonight, first find the Big Dipper. Follow these 2 stars out to the North Star, Polaris, and once you're facing north, turn right and look for the 3 stars that make up the summer triangle. The summer triangle is an asterism, and so, like the Big Dipper, it isn't a constellation, though each of these 3 stars is the brightest in its own constellation. Vega is the brightest in Lyra, Altair is the brightest in Aquila, and Deneb is the brightest in Cygnus. Today we're going to focus on Lyra, and in particular 2 things in it, Vega and Messier 57, the Ring Nebula. Vega is the 5th brightest star in the night sky, and you can find it just about directly overhead if you're out around 1 a.m. tonight. It used to be used to calibrate the scale astronomers use to measure the brightness of stars, but it turned out its brightness can vary by up to 4%. Imagine if you tried to measure something and your ruler kept changing size. Vega spins so fast that its equator noticeably bulges, making it about 19% wider when measured through its equator than through its poles. In this constellation we'll also find Messier 57, the Ring Nebula. The Ring Nebula is a planetary nebula, but don't let the name fool you. Planetary nebulae are named after the fact that through a telescope they, like planets, look round, and that's where the similarities end. At the center of this nebula you'll find a bright point, the star responsible for its formation. This star was once a red giant. Toward the end of its life it began to cast off its outer layers, forming a large bubble of gas around itself and leaving behind its dead core, forming what's called a white dwarf. It isn't producing any more heat, but at over 200,000 degrees Fahrenheit, this white dwarf is still incredibly hot and bright. It's putting out around 200 times more light than the sun, lighting up the gas around it. Each color you see here is from a different element in its nebula interacting with the white dwarf's light. The blue toward the center is from helium, the greenish blue area is hydrogen and oxygen, and the orangish red is nitrogen. Unfortunately, the Ring Nebula is over 2,500 light years away and is pretty faint, so views like the one you see here are only visible to a camera. Through a telescope, your eye sees it as a faint gray ring of light, but that makes it no less fun to look at. We hope you'll get to see it sometime, maybe even at one of our observatory open houses. We hope you enjoyed this brief talk about Lyra, and we hope you'll join us again as we talk about the summer triangle and other things in the sky in a future episode of Cabin Fever Astronomy.